My name is Leviticus of Vernon.
Gonad Blighter is strong fighter.
So my character is named Poland Sarpiel.
And he announces to the square, there is an imposter in the square. And he says, by order of the magnificent magistrate, the square is in lockdown now. So anywhere that there's an exit, guards have pretty much come in and taken control of.
All right.
So, down over here, multiple guards come walking in. They come marching in.
Yep.
And the guard, who is the well-dressed guard, you can determine that he's probably in charge of all of these other guards. Okay. He states there will be a search of the premises. Each store will be searched up and down. Resistance is not allowed.
Sure.
So at that point, what do you do, John?
Let's see. What do I do?
Does he give any indication that of what they're looking for? Just an imposter.
An imposter. That's it.
All right. I go inside the shop to find some way to prepare or hide.
Do you kind of like slowly like push in, or do you just kind of like get out of the way and then close the door when you get in?
I rush in.
Okay.
Full force.
So, John, you rush in full force, pushing the high elf forward into the wood elf a little bit.
Okay.
And you make it into the shop and close and slam the door.
Right. All right.
So we'll say from there, go ahead, Lucas, what does your character do after being pushed forward? And then Matt and his response.
Well, I got a 7 for dexterity to keep my feet as the door is blown in behind me.
Yep. And you had a 7.
So I will I stumble forward.
Yeah.
Probably catching myself on Leviticus, like on the shoulder or something.
Yeah.
And then like doing one of the
white big hand.
Are you all right? Can I help you? Is everything all right?
Are you speaking to me or to John's character?
Yeah.
You're on my shoulder. You're on my shoulder, right?
Well,
yeah.
And then I collected myself.
So he pulled back, and you notice, Matt, that half orc has rushed into the store and closed the door behind you.
Yeah. And inside the store, did we hear anything that was going on outside, or was it too muffled to make out?
You heard announcements, and you heard troop movement or guard movement. That's all you heard.
Okay, so I will first off look around very perturbed at who has rumpled the back of my fine clothing with the door. And what does Nonad look like, John?
He looks probably a little less buff, slightly, than my avatar character token thing.
Just a little bit,
but
just a little bit less buff.
Yeah, and but he looks very intimidating. But he also, if you look into his eyes, and you are keen enough in your perception, you can tell that there is a good spirit hiding behind the cold and hard demeanor that is forced to be portrayed.
Yeah, I don't care. So once I see him, I kind of look over his shoulder back out the door / out a window to see what is up with the troops and why they're all in the square. And I say out loud, like, what is going on? I just got here.
So you hear troops moving in from all corners of the map, or of the square. And as you look around, you can see past the square because they're still high enough. You can see the chief guard and the magistrate.
Yeah, they're up on the steps, kind of on the far side.
They start to move forward, and they kind of step down into a crowded area. When you look out, you see the guards sorting through people, kind of looking them up and down, checking papers, that kind of stuff.
So
I say something.
Go ahead.
I say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I say,
I am a arena fighter. I found my way out and escaped. Now I fear they have come for me. I do not know you, but I ask for your help.
And I look out the window again at the 24 guards that are marching around the market.
like
I really don't think they're here for you.
they might be.
My friend, your conscience must be extremely guilty to fear half of the city's guard force coming out for you in broad daylight.
Well, what if they've got a thing against half orcs? I don't know.
So either you're lying about being an escaped arena fighter, or
Yes,
they're
we're
after something
paranoia.
much more interesting.
Yeah.
Well, what? Yeah, I mean, they might be. I don't know.
I look at Leviticus and I say, "Does this happen often?"
Well,
From your experience, this has happened a handful of times, and it's only happened more recently since the new magistrate took over.
It's been happening more often, Mr. Folan, since
Starfield. My family name is Starfield.
Again, you get a shock of fear for some reason you don't remember why or think of.
Mr. Starfield. Since this most recent magistrate has come to power, this seems like this is happening more often recently.
Is there a problem in the city that a newcomer should be made aware of that is resulting in all of this guard activity?
None that I'm aware of. Clearly something's going on.
Do I believe him, Jesse?
Roll.
Roll what?
Roll insight.
Pop quiz DM. What do I roll for this insight?
Roll
All right.
insight. And Matt, are you trying to deceive them or are you telling the truth?
I think I'm telling the truth.
So,
right.
We'll make it easy. You believe them. And for the most part, it is true.
I'm going to roll anyway because I have a +1 and I just want to figure out how terrible the roll is.
All right, good.
Hey! All right.
Yeah, so perfect.
First crit of the game is on a freaking insight check. Okay. So I no evasiveness, nothing there that thinks that he's involved with it in any way.
No. You are kind of like, okay, he's telling the truth.
Look, if Mr. What did you say your name, John? You did, right? As soon as you came in, you're like, me, Gonad Blighter.
Yes.
Mr. Blighter, if you want to just stand over there somewhere, I'm sure the guards will come in and it will be fine.
Okay, so at that point,
don't use your sword, please. These are brand new clothes. I do not want to get them soiled.
So
I grab a bed sheet. I find a bed sheet and I put it over my head and I just stand still.
I'm gonna kind of step against the back wall away from the door a little bit.
Okay, so that's a secondary door that you're walking into.
Oh, okay. Is there a wall up here?
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. You stay.
Okay.
You move there.
Okay, that's fine. I'll just stand there.
As you move there, you're trying to move there. You kind of stop before you get there, and Virg enters the shop.
Oh, okay.
And
oh my, it's getting crowded in here.
he kind of looks around and he sees this tall high elf straight in front of him. He looks over. He sees his companion wood elf, and in the corner he sees a statue
a sheet with a sheet over it.
That's breathing heavily with a sheet over his sheet over his entire body. And
I like to think that's how he breathes too. Like
the
even his breathing is
back and forth. Virg looks over at Leviticus and says, "What's going on?" He's very confused.
Virginia. What is going on is that these fine gentlemen, for Mr. Rafael is here. I'm not sure exactly. He hasn't said exactly why he's here. He says he notices the state of our shop, and he's saying that he's here to help in general in the town area. But Mr. Blighter is here, and he seems to think that these soldiers that just came into town are after him. Mr. Rafael and I, we doubt it.
So he kind of looks at you both and squeezes past you and pulls a sheet off of Gonad later. And Gonad, you see the sheet torn away from you, and this old. Let me share the actual character with you. That's kind of what you see. That's Virg. This old man with a staff, and he's kind of looking up at you. And he's like, "What? Why are you here?"
I have escaped. I'm an escaped slave. I don't want to go back, and I don't want to kill you, but I will if I have to.
He goes, "Go back? Why would you ever go back, my dear boy?"
There are guards outside. I just recently escaped the arena, and I shall never return. If they capture me, they might kill me.
So Virg ends up walking over to the door, opens the door, and takes a step outside. And he notices the guards marching through the square. And you hear him say, "Oh, not again." And Matt, your character remembers the last time this happened. And
Yeah, you see, Mr. Blighter, this thing happens all the time. There's nothing to be worried about. They're not here for you.
so he notices, and you guys notice as you look through the door, that the chief guard and the magistrate are checking each building. And they're going to each building, going in, observing, coming back out. And they're slowly getting closer to you guys. Virg.
Say something.
Yeah.
I say,
All right, let's just say you're right. But just in case, if anyone asks, I am your luggage carrier. And you've known me for a long time.
Are there any crates sitting around within easy reach, Jesse or Leviticus?
There are no crates within easy reach.
Mr. Leviticus, could I bother you for a container of some kind that my luggage carrier could hold for just a moment to make himself more at home in his new role?
I believe in the back, in the storeroom where we keep all our inventory, there's some empty barrels.
Perfect. If you could bring one forward for dear Mr. Blighter to hold onto as needed.
Oh, thank you.
Horrible.
Thank you, Sarfiel. You are clearly the most eloquent, most refined, most intelligent elf in the entire building.
Yes, I get that a lot.
Okay. Yes, I'm loving this. So you go into the back and you find a barrel, John. It's empty, but you end up like putting some sacks of beans or whatever is in the back.
Oh God, not more beans. I've had enough beans for the day.
Something heavy.
So Jesse, do we have time to converse more before our shop is inspected, or is that going to happen imminently?
It's going to happen pretty quickly. So
I will introduce myself to Virgil. I'll say, Mr. Virgil, I'm sorry for the circumstances in which we have found ourselves meeting. My name is Folan Sarfiel. I am new to the city and am familiarizing myself with its denizens and businesses. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Okay. Virg says, yes, and he kind of pats you on like the bottom of your arm, kind of like, yes, very good, very good. he walks over to Gonad, and the carpet or rug that is on the floor there, he pulls it back, revealing a secret trap door.
Crap.
And he says, well, you could go down there and hide yourself if you feel that they're after you. And you've never seen this door in your life before. This is something completely new to you.
Your action of kindness is greatly appreciated.
So do you go down into the cellar?
I do that.
He closes the door, he locks it, and then yells, "I've got him here!" Joking. He doesn't do that. No, he covers it. He covers the.
My share for help with the apprehension.
He
I
covers
talked it down.
He covers the trapdoor with a rug, with the same rug that was there before, and then he tries to push the barrel back into the back, like into the very back there.
I would offer to help, but I'm going to be no help pushing a barrel.
So he's trying to push it himself, and he's trying, and he's moving it inch by inch, and then he finally looks over to Leviticus and says, "My boy, come move this, please."
I don't think Matt is listening.
Yeah, sorry. I heard. I'm listening. I just didn't.
Register.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Okay. I go over and I do a few stretches and some monk warm-ups, and I look like I'm really trying to help move
So
this thing.
go ahead and move your token over to the corner up where Virg is right now. Yeah. And go ahead and do a dex roll. And you got a 10. So
That makes sense.
you were able to push it. It took you a little bit, and you kind of had to brace your feet on a couple other things near it, and you're able to get it kind of just out of the way. Right as you're finishing doing that, the magistrate and chief enter into the building, and the chief shoves Virg forward
Hey!
for the magistrate, who
Hey!
comes in and looks around and observes the entire state of everything in here.
Can I say I look very indignant, and I go over and I help Vigil up from the floor and look really disdainfully at the gentleman.
So this is the captain. His name is Bragner. He introduces himself. He says, "I'm Captain Bragner of the Imperial Guard of the city of Reich." And he states that the premises is going to be searched from top to bottom. Any aiding and abetting of a criminal is a criminal offense in of itself and will be dealt with appropriately. And he says that after he shoves Virg out of the way.
This is just a taste. Ugh.
Yeah.
This is what'll happen.
Get him out of the way, old man.
Hey, Captain Douchebag, what right do you have to come in here? Under what grounds and what warrant do you have to come in here and look for someone like that?
He gives you a glare as you speak to him, while the magistrate walks in, who is this person.
Jeez.
Up for you guys. And he says, by my will, Magistrate Nekvan is now in charge of the square and has been for quite a while. I am the law in the square. He states that to you, and the captain begins to make room and shoves you into the back.
That dude is balling.
I don't like it. I yell out to someone who's following him, taking minutes and like taking notes down on everything that he says and does. And I say, hey, make sure you write down that I generally don't prefer this individual.
Folan, what do you do?
I am stepped back as far, I guess, against that counter or desk there as I can be.
Yeah.
I'm simply standing there, straight, ramrod straight. I have my hands simply folded in front of me, and I'm just watching.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't really care.
So.
Not making a nuisance of myself, just watching it unfold.
Okay. So Nekvon kind of looks around, and he looks over to his chief guard, and he says, search the premises. And with that, multiple guards enter in, and they push past everybody and start to go through everything. This one shoves you to the side, pushing you into the wall as he walks.
But as previously stated, there's not that much to go through in the first place.
Yeah.
So they're kind of just like, what are we supposed to look through?
Picking up an individual bottle and looking underneath
so like,
of it, picking up another one.
Like they just gotta just look around like, I don't see anything.
There's really not much. The one guard goes up to the second floor, and you can hear him up on the second floor.
Hey, I live up there. That's my stuff.
Yeah, so he's going through all of your stuff. He's going through everything, including Virg. And the magistrate Nekvon says, who's the owner of this establishment?
And does Virgil say anything?
Virgil is still trying to stand up.
And so I speak up and I say, hey, the man you just shoved in when you first barged in here is the proprietor of this establishment. How can I help you?
He looks over to you and he says, you can't. You can be silent. That's how you can help me. And he looks over to his chief guard and he says, keep that dirt silent. And he walks over and he's glaring at you. The magistrate turns over to Virg, and Virg is just about standing up. And Nekvon says, your shop is on my list. And he pulls out a piece of parchment with a bunch of names of shops, local shops, on the list. And he says, you've been past due for the past 3 months on your lease for this land. And Virg looks up at him and says, I understand, but I put in a request for an extension at the church. And he goes, it's been denied, and I'm here to let you know that. You've got 24 hours.
Can we say that the guard comes back from upstairs and says, like, I didn't find anything except for these really weird animal magazines.
I picked those up in my wanderings throughout the country.
In bark. It's in bark too. It's in great.
The soldier says, I thought this was a children's comic. Somebody was making it.
Pay no attention to those. They're just don't worry about them. Just please put them back.
The guard's like, ponies, really?
Just, whatever you do, just don't damage them. Just don't bend the pages.
He goes through like dog ears every single page.
You can't open one of them. So, all right. So, the magistrate says you have 24 hours to come up with the full payment plus interest that you owe on the past due payments. He puts down another piece of parchment that has the amount owed on it, and he pretty much throws it at Virg. The guard comes from comes from the second stairs, walks in, and reports to the chief and says, there's nothing up there but these really weird bark magazines with animals.
Just
and then
interesting art. It's art. Just put it back, please. Where you found it.
You left it up there. They're not holding anything. The guard who's searching in the back area says, "There's nothing here, Chief." And the chief turns back over to the magistrate and says, "It's clean, sir. There's nothing here." The magistrate looks down at Virg and he says, "Yeah, you're right. There's absolutely nothing here." And then he walks away with the chief following closely behind him and the soldiers afterwards. And
JD, can I make a grab for the paper? Well, I don't want to make a grab for it, but I want to see if I can like get an angle on the paper that says how much they're behind.
Virg is holding it.
Oh, okay. All
Virg
right.
is holding that piece of paper. So Virg, after they leave, Virg is kind of like trembling where he stands. He's like hunched over. You can tell that like arthritis is like starting to break in, and his eyes start to water as he's looking at the parchment. So,
as I was about to offer, before my point was so flamboyantly made for me, it looks like the two of you could use some help. And I am here to offer that.
In what way do you think you could help, sir?
I don't know. That is for you to tell me.
Virg turns to look at Leviticus, and he says, with tears rolling down his face, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen.
How could you? I didn't know we were behind on our payments. If you told me I can do all these different skills, I can do all these different jobs, I could have helped.
I'm really good with Excel. Like I can make the formulas just wouldn't believe the formulas I can make.
Yeah. Except it's like the year 500 BCE. So
listen, you know, it's Excel in abacus form.
Right.
It still works.
John's stuck under the floor, and everyone's just chatting.
Anyways, about this bill.
Hey guys, you have a bathroom up there?
I'm sorry, it's usually not this loud.
You gotta use the bathroom.
We're talking about you needing to help us, and it's really, honestly, despite my general.
Are they gone yet?
Virg, like in the middle of you saying that, like goes in and starts to hug you, Leviticus. As his tears, you can feel your shoulder getting wet from his tears.
It's all right.
And
it's all right.
Ham it up a little more there, Jesse. Jeez. Like,
he's saying, I'm so sorry. And
it's all right. It's all right.
The piece of paper.
Virgil, we'll figure this out. We'll figure it out. We have someone here who's offering their help.
And
clearly what we need help with is to make these payments. Are you saying, sir, that you might be able to donate or to generate some kind of revenue for us in some way?
Virg interrupts you and goes, "Oh, the orc," and he moves over and he starts.
Sorry, Virgil. Virgil, we're talking to Mr. Sturfield right now, and we're discussing our business transaction.
Are they on top of the trap door right now, JD?
No, the trap door is right where Virg is standing right now. It's in like one of those squares.
Okay, so
you guys are talking between them
as they're doing that, and obviously ignoring the orc that is underneath the thing.
My bladder is going to explode.
Help! Poland is just going to roll his eyes, and he's going to cast a very quick spell, and he's going to use Mage Hand to flick back the carpet and open the hatch without having to touch anything.
Well,
nice.
Where's my
I believe we have another soul here. Attention.
As the carpet flies up, I do like a very acrobatic backflip and like in a spin in the air, and I land on my feet as the carpet flies out.
Oh no, so the mage hand is visible. It's just like it's not an invisible force. It's just like a kind of a ghostly looking hand and it's obviously connected to me. Like I had to do a little thing.
I appear partially damp and with a very
the smell of urine.
a very disappointed look on my face. Very apologetic. Like now I feel like I owe the owner of the shop something.
I've spoiled your floorboard, sir.
Yeah, I ruined his trap compartment.
So outside, you guys hear the soldiers marching off. So they finished their sweep of the entire market, and the soldiers have been called away. Virg looks at Gonad and says, "It's not the first time." And he says, "This is." He looks over at Leviticus and he goes, "I'm so sorry, my boy, but I've been smuggling slaves out of the city for quite a while now." And he says, "It's."
I wasn't the only one. I mean, and I say it, but like really quietly to him, so that Raphael doesn't hear me.
Yeah, and he's hard of hearing, so he doesn't really hear anything that you say.
Speak up, boy.
And
so I wasn't the, and I look over to him like kind of timidly, like kind of like, and I say,
his eyebrow just goes up, like,
and I'm like, well, that's really great of you, Virgil.
So Virgil says he explains that, you know, to get some supplemental income as well as help the slaves in the area, he's been specifically from the pit fighting arena. He's been helping them get out, as well as like slave servants in the area. He goes on to say, you know, he doesn't know how they're going to pay the fee off. And when you look at the numbers, you see that per month to hold this piece of land, it costs 50 gold. And you're behind 3 months, so you're at 150 gold owed, as well as interest on top of that.
Which they've probably jacked up to ridiculous percentages as well.
Yeah, is it like a 45% interest rate or something?
There's no. It just says plus interest.
With the juices running is all.
Yep.
So he hands it off to you, and he looks at you, Leviticus, and says, "What are we gonna do?" And he starts.
It seems Starfield is offering to help us out. We're trying to work out the details of exactly how he can help us out.
I say something.
Yep.
Your kindness to me is much appreciated. I must return the favor. If you let me stay here, I will do what I can to help as well.
Virg looks up at you, and he kind of places his hand on like the bottom of your chin, gently slaps it, and just kind of like, good boy, thank you, you're a good boy. And turns over to look at the high elves, and he goes, "Anything you can do," and in mid-sentence he goes, "Zoe." He says, "We need to talk to Zoe. Zoe will know what to do." Zoe looks over at Gonad and says, "Rig the fights? Never." Never.
Right. And we all look at each other like,
this is an upstanding establishment.
Like, move away from the children that he doesn't realize that they took all of his gold.
Oh, jeez.
Because you'll let me.
Go ahead and roll.
and this is all to know whether or not he's going to murder a child.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Hold on.
Rah, 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 rah. Like and subscribe. Find out what happened last time in the previous episode. Check out the next episode We stream on Twitch, links down below.